Hi, my friend. Welcome to another episode of Soul Alchemy with Danielle Lynn. I'm Danielle Lynn, and in today's video, we're going to address the question of words. Now, someone had asked me, if you use curse words, do they curse you? I'm going to share some perspectives about words that might be really helpful and really useful for you in your day-to-day life, and maybe address a perspective on that question. So words are very powerful tools. We create through resonance, which means that we're not only creating in the physical ways that you or I notice in the world around us. We create through our intention. We create through the energy current that we are focused on and that we are tuned into. All of the world is a bit like a web. It's a bit like a web that we are all contributing to and that we are all receiving from. And this web is something that is invisible to our normal human perception, and yet it has real impacts on our life. When we use words, we are using formed resonance. It's formed resonance that came from thought, intention, from our bodies, from our diaphragm, from our throat, out our mouth. And these formed intentions are very interesting because they're not quite concrete, right? Words aren't something you can touch, but they are something you can feel. I mean, literally, if someone has a loud enough voice, you can feel yourself when you're talking. If you talk and you say something and you feel yourself, you can feel the vibration of your words and your voice. So it is something tangible to the senses. Now, you may have already heard this before, but words have a very powerful impact in our lives and the lives of those around us. When we're using words, we are forming intentions. We are forming constructs vibrationally that are taking form of sorts. Now, when you use curse words, when you're cursing someone, you are taking an intention to send out a signal of harm, supposedly. So, without going too deeply into the perceptions of karma, without going too deeply into the perceptions of right or wrong or morality, let's say this much. If you are standing on the same threads that the person you are cursing is standing on, if you are shaking the threads that that person is standing on some level, you are also shaking your own threads. We are all interconnected. It may not seem super apparent and obvious to us from this human perspective, and it can often seem like we're not connected, or we'll do something or someone else will feel something and we're not feeling it. But the more sensitive that you are with yourself, the more you can feel the effects that you have on others and the effects that others have on you. And the more you can tune into our collective consciousness as humans, as humanity in this world. So when you put out curse words, in essence, it is almost a little bit like you're cursing yourself, just from a very roundabout, delayed way. Now, when you're putting out those intentions, however, you're also doing something else. You, in the act of cursing someone with your words, you are putting into your current present vibrational field that your words can do harm, that harm is part of the structure of your reality, that this is a structure you are voting with. I like to always say we vote in our reality with what we choose to be and do. We're voting in every second of every day by what we choose to be and do. So when you choose to be someone who curses, and when you choose to do cursing, it's not about a moralistic, you're a bad person or you're a right or wrong person, but it's simply that you have voted with your words and your actions and your presence to participate with life in a certain way, and that is that you can curse and be cursed. So you can argue that by taking that intention and step, you have programmed your reality to involve curses and cursing. So you can say, yeah, in essence, you may have, cursed yourself. Now, I give a little laugh to that because I want to point out that nothing is completely, nothing is completely unfixable. Nothing is completely, unchangeable. If you have cursed people or use curse words, rather than worrying about it or focusing, too heavily on that, I would invite you to feel whatever residual feelings you might have about it, and then start focusing on the kind of person you want to be here and now. A lot of times we beat ourselves up for the things we might have done, and that doesn't actually serve any helpful effect. Beating yourself up doesn't help you or the collective or anyone else. It's really understandable, when we feel sad about those kinds of things. But I'd invite you to be as kind to yourself as possible, because anything we've done, that might have hurt ourselves or another is always done in ignorance, because if we knew better, we would do better. So, be kind to you. And if you go, well, I did know better, then I'd say, well, even when we sometimes know better, we can know something without embodying it. We can know things with our minds, but not really understand it within ourselves. And that's just as good as not knowing it. Because until we embody something, we can know, that another language exists out there. But until you actually embody the ability to speak the language, knowing that the language exists doesn't help you, if that makes sense. You can know that we're all connected, but until you're embodying that feeling, it's hard for us to conceptually connect with the idea that we're all connected. So give yourself a break and be really kind to you, because you are doing very awesome. Now, lastly, we'll speak on curse words, such as the words fuck or bitch or whatever you want to say. And that might seem shocking, to you that I just said those words. But the reason I have is because I want to demonstrate to you that you can say these words without charge. You can say these words without charge. And you can hear them without charge. And if you hear these words and you have charge to them, meaning, it feels really intense to you, then I invite you, if you like, I invite you to sit with that a bit and ask yourself why there's so much charge around these words. And if you like it that way. If you do, don't worry about it. It's your reality. And if you don't, if you'd rather feel neutral about words like that, I'd invite you to consider that the intention behind words is usually what is driving the ill effect of them. When we say words as they are, when we say them with true neutrality, they're simply a container. It's the vibrational intention behind the words that turns them into something, right? For example, I could say, I love you. Or I could say, I love you. Or I could say, I love you. There's so many ways we can say something, but the meaning is carried not just through the words. Now, final thought, words do have shared meaning, right? Words do have shared meaning. So we can mean things individually, but we can also mean things collectively. Keep in mind that we are collective co-creators. So start by playing around with words yourself. Get clear on your meanings. Get clear on where it stands with you intentionally. And, maybe start playing around with it a bit with others. So this has been addressing words and curse words and the intentions behind that. If you have any questions, let me know. I love you. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.